All right, and welcome to Hattrick Sports Talk. Another week, Sunday post show, week 14. Sunday post show. Been doing this for 14 weeks. Pretty wild. Again, it's crazy that we're close to the playoffs. I'm here as always, joined by my co-host Shane and Brandon. How you guys doing today?
Did you almost say another year when you
What?
Did you almost say another year when you were introducing it?
Probably not.
I mean, it is nearly another year done.
It is
That's
another
true. It
year done.
is.
It's another year of shows done, pretty much. Well, technically, yeah.
Anyways, yeah. No, I'm hanging. It's another another wild day of games,
Yeah.
as has been the case this year. But it keeps it interesting, right?
Yep. Brandon, how about you?
Yeah, some very interesting games, some very interesting results. I no longer feel so terrible about the Seahawks losing to the Giants after the Saints
Hmm.
lost to the Eagles, who are worse than the Giants, in my opinion.
I have a claim about both the Eagles and the Seahawks in a little bit, but we'll get to that in a second. First, let's start with Sunday Night Football, as we always do. The Bills. Do you both believe that the Bills have cemented themselves as the number 2 team in the AFC after tonight?
I I would say so. Because at least recently, they've just been a lot more consistent than any of the other possible number two teams. Um, the I think if you look at like Tennessee, for instance, I think they have a lot more. I think they have a higher ceiling than Buffalo, but Buffalo at the end of the day, I feel like they're just you kind of know what you're going to get with them, whereas Tennessee, it's like they're sort of a wild card. So I like him for that reason. I think, yeah, Tennessee would probably be the third team for me. Then fourth, either Cleveland or Indy. It kind of depends. Or Miami, maybe. I don't know. They looked pretty good today, despite the fact that they lost. But it's the Chiefs, so yeah. But no, I do like the Bills though. They've, they were a little murky, kind of like weeks 5 to 8 ish, but I think they've kind of pulled themselves out of the wreckage now, and I think they're doing well now. So yeah.
Brandon, your thoughts on the Bills? Do you think the number 2 team in the AFC? Excuse me.
You know, I do, but I also feel like the Steelers team is just shutting down and deteriorating. Um, they're not doing anything that they were able to do earlier in the season, and I also think it's just an example of like a team that didn't really play anybody good and barely got away with it. I think the Bills are a good team. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would probably put them probably my yeah. I guess I'd have to put them in the second seed because the Steelers certainly ain't my second seed. So
Am I even okay to say this? Now, this might be going a little bit too far, but the Bills are probably better than any of the NFC teams right now.
no, that's going too far.
I guess this is me trying to make sense of the NFC again because I just don't understand it.
Well, here's what it is: the NFC is competitive. That's what it is, and
But
that's
it's not
a
as
bad.
good as the AFC, at least from the top level down.
No.
Well, I think it's becoming clear, at least to me, that it's like the Chiefs, and then
Everybody else.
yeah,
Yeah.
AFC and NFC. Not even that the Chiefs are really that amazing.
Good.
I mean, they are. They're an
I mean,
incredible team, obviously.
The Chiefs were staggered today by the Dolphins. Like,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
truly believe the Dolphins deserve to beat the Chiefs today. Like, they
It looked like they were going to for a while.
I've never seen Patrick Mahomes play that shitty in the beginning of a game.
Well, other than every other time he plays at Rock Hard Stadium, that's true. in Hard Rock, I should say.
Yeah.
So it's kind of his kryptonite. But we kind of saw. I mean, Brandon, you spoke about this on Friday. We kind of saw something there with the Dolphins' defense against the Chiefs, and you mentioned this. When we did the first game of the season with the Chiefs and the Texans, you mentioned that you thought the Chiefs were actually going to slow down a little bit offensively, and they have. They're not necessarily entirely the same. They're kind of the crazy Chiefs team sort of in spurts, and that's probably better throughout a playoff run than what they did last year. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would. But and it was interesting because Tony Romo today on the Chiefs Dolphins telecast, he said that he thought that this was a better Chiefs team than the one last year. I would disagree with that. He said he thinks this is a more well-rounded team. I think that's a lie. I actually think this team's defense has gotten worse, and their offense has gone down a bit. But I don't know.
They're better in the sense that everyone else in the NFL around them has gotten worse. And they've kind of stayed level. Maybe they're down a couple pegs, but they are better, clearly, than any other team here. And that's ultimately just what it is.
I mean, my thing about the Chiefs we've already had this conversation, but you know what? Good for the Chiefs. If they can win another one, great, because they sure as hell ain't winning another one after this year. Because
I give it a few more years.
No. Here's the thing, Robert. They're not going to have the salary cap to afford players.
My thought is it doesn't even matter.
It really does, though.
Mahomes is so crazy with how he's playing, and Andy Reid, and then you get Clyde Edwards-Helaire for 4 seasons.
Here's the problem, Robert.
It's going to be nuts.
Robert, they need, yes, they have lots of picks, and they have lots of but, we've seen what happens to teams when they try and just run it back with a couple good players.
Right, but this team is different in my opinion. They have what is it? 5 guys that are their base, and the rest are pretty interchangeable as long as the receivers have speed. As long as they have that, they're fine.
Those guys are not going to get paid. They only have they paid Mahomes big money. They basically gave him half their cap space.
Right. And the cap is going down.
They paid Chris Jones as well.
Tyreek Hill and
Tyreek Hill.
Travis Kelce. Okay, that's 4 players. And I think they paid Matthew as well.
No, they didn't. They paid 4 players. That means their defense is about to get absolutely cut and slaughtered. Their rest of their wide receiver threats are going to be gone. Their running back, they're going to have
Clyde, and then they have Mecole Hardman as well.
Robert, this team, and I see this team. It's not going to be 12-1, 12. It's going to lose.
And I'm not saying that it will be that, but I see this team consistently getting 10 wins and being competitive.
I definitely see them being competitive. I see them being where I see them be. I see them being like a Seahawks team where they're competitive and they get there. They are in the hunt. But they're after this year, it's not going to be every year we're talking about them going to Super Bowl.
Right, but also I look at the AFC, and yes, the AFC is a lot better, but looking at how the AFC has performed historically speaking, they're going to have, regardless of how their roster looks, just because of how the AFC has operated in the past, I guess 5 years, the AFC is a lot easier than the NFC.
I would actually,
in general, historically,
I would actually argue that that's not going to be the case in the future. Because think about all the teams on the rise. You have the Bills. You have the Bills. You have the Dolphins. You have the Titans. You have the Browns. You have the Colts.
Browns, Colts, Titans. I think the only 3 teams here that are probably staying there long term are the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Dolphins, and probably the Ravens, and that's about it. And
I
then
don't
the
see
Chargers.
the Ravens staying long term.
And then the Chargers. Well, okay, that's fine. That's fine because they're on the bottom of my list. And maybe the Chargers. Shane, what are your thoughts on how the AFC will look long term here?
I mean, I could see Baltimore coming back if they can get a good pass game going. But until then, I don't see Pittsburgh being at this level where they're at for too long. Tennessee is a complete guessing game because I feel like right now they're over-reliant on Derrick Henry, and I don't think that lasts very long just because of how physical he is. And then, Browns, I think they'll continue to rise now that they have Stefanski, now that they have an adult in the building.
The Browns need to do one thing, though, if they want to be competitive moving forward.
Yeah.
What's that?
Trade Odell Beckham for a couple first-round picks.
Or that, too.
And that's about it. That's all they have to do.
Because, I think they're a better team without him, which
I agree.
Because he's such a good player. But, because without him, it feels like Baker doesn't, feel like he has to throw to him. He can just sit back and do his thing.
He doesn't force feed him.
Right.
And that makes that team so much better offensively.
Which led to turnovers and a bunch of other stuff. Anyways. Yeah. No, do you think Baker is the future for them? Because
No.
I don't. I think he's fine, but I don't know if I want him for 10 years.
I think Stefanski, for how he's working with Baker right now, and let's keep this in mind that this group, offensively speaking, let's say they don't have Odell, it doesn't even matter. And probably Kareem Hunt's going to go too next year, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Other than those two, the rest of that core is pretty locked up. And let's even look at how Baker's performed with guys that are young and up and comers. Rashard Higgins, he's had amazing spurts. Donovan Peoples-Jones. What I love about the Browns offense is not necessarily the pieces that are already established, but the up and coming pieces, particularly at the receiving core spot, is ridiculous. I think Baker's kind of elevated, gotten them up to a level because of Stefanski. I think Stefanski's done a better coaching job with this team. Now, obviously, defensively, they're not good at all. But offensively speaking, I think Stefanski's got Baker on the right track where I could see it going 10 years. I could. I don't see it's 100%, but I think it's 80%.
I don't think Baker is all that amazing, though.
That's why I think it's 80. I think he's a franchise quarterback, but by the end of the decade, he's probably going to be mid-tier. But it doesn't mean that he's not a franchise guy.
Well, here's the problem with Baker. I don't think he can win the big games. Just saying.
No.
Well, he's not.
We haven't really seen it though.
He's not very. Well, that's true, but he's not. He's not very he's not very athletic. His accuracy is hit or miss. I guess he's got a strong arm, but
I would make an argument that his accuracy with Stefanski has gone ridiculously better just from
an eye test view. Better
from an eye test view.
This is also you also have to remember this is the same dude who had to deal with 4 terrible coaches.
Yeah, but Stefanski's going to be there for the decade. He's not leaving them.
You assume that he's not just gonna have had one good season and then.
Well, no, all of this is assumptions anyway. But if I look at how the offense, particularly, is built around Baker and Stefanski and all that stuff, I don't look. I don't see Baker being a top 5 quarterback over the next decade. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I don't see a definitive reason why they should move off of him in 2 years.
You know what I think would help that team a lot and would like really make me change my opinion on the Browns?
Hmm.
I think they need to get themselves a solid RB2 for that team.
But they have an RB2.
They do.
Not really.
Kareem Hunt?
I mean, the running
Game is literally number 1 in the NFL.
Not really.
Yeah,
I mean, I watched
Yeah.
that game, dude. I watched that team, and they get shut down a lot running the ball.
Well, I mean, but if you look at, I mean, I guess this is counterintuitive to my last argument, but if you look at their ranks, they're top 3 in the league right now running the
Except
football.
here's the problem: it's the same shit that happens with fucking, it happens with basketball. It's the same shit. I'm so done with rankings. People need to use their eyeballs for teams sometimes.
Well, yeah, but you kind of have to use
watch
both.
teams play. Like, people give teams rankings and say they're so bad when it's like teams can outplay their rankings all the time. Like, I don't get it. Like,
Well, I'm using both. Like for the Browns, I talked about Baker in terms of an eye test view with his receivers, but with the running backs, it's fairly clear that running back duo is the number 1 running back duo in the NFL.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
There's no running back duo better.
I'm not gonna here's the thing. This organization has been such dog shit the last decade.
Oh, I can't believe you used dog. That's super.
That I'm not about to be like, oh my god, they're gonna be amazing now. Like,
I'm not
Baker's
even
amazing.
saying that.
Like,
I'm saying they're mid-level AFC contenders the next decade.
Robert, you literally today said that Baker Mayfield is amazing.
I said no. I was talking about Jerome Baker.
Yeah.
Well, you should have been more specific.
I was talking about Jerome Baker after he made that.
Yes, should have been more specific. Damn it!
I was talking about Jerome Baker, dude. I'm a Jerome Baker head. I love that man.
Yeah, whatever.
I was talking about Jerome Baker.
I just don't trust the Browns.
I'm not saying they're going to be incredible over the next decade, but at least they'll be competitive.
I think they'll be a playoff contender.
I mean, I'll just say this. I think they're gonna have a hard time with the fact that this. See, it depends. It depends on what happens with the Ravens, what happens with the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing the
Bengals
Browns need, Browns need to be a top 2, top 3 AFC team over the next decade is simple. They need a secondary.
Yeah.
They need a viable. I cannot believe. They have. Who do they have? They have Denzel Ward. Oh my God, they have one more guy they drafted this year. They have a young secondary that should be a lot better. But once the secondary improves, this team is top 3 in the AFC. But the reality is I don't think they're going to get there. I just don't.
It depends on how they draft, I think.
But they've already drafted good at the position. The guys that they have just haven't performed.
I don't know. Maybe you can get something out of Odell.
Yeah, potentially.
At the end of the day, I really just think that Baker should stick to doing progressive commercials because but
they're pretty funny.
Between him, Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers, who do all their insurance commercials, I think Baker's definitely the best as an actor. I mean, being an actor myself, I just think that he really sells it. Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I'm sorry, I love the guy, but he's not. I'm not buying it.
Here's the thing: they only say a few lines in those State Farm commercials.
He just makes me angry with his ketchup and his steak.
I know.
I mean, come on.
You should get fined for that.
Yo, he said that he wanted turkey. That he's putting ketchup on his turkey as well.
Oh, that's just
unbelievable. His poor future daughter.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on from this conversation to the NFC side. The Eagles. What did I say last week about the Eagles?
You said
they're a better team with Jalen Hurts.
That they have one word: energy with Jalen Hurts. It showed today. That guy's their franchise quarterback. It's time to move on from Carson Wentz any way they can.
He
Okay.
might be their franchise quarterback, but they're not gonna move on to him. And I'm not about to say like again. I don't think it's fair to like be like one game with the man and be like, oh my God, he's the second coming of Jesus. Like,
Well, no, but again, I think the primary issue with the Eagles over this whole Carson Wentz, Nick Foles, and now Jalen Hurts saga is that the rest of the 52 guys on that roster did not trust Carson Wentz. They trusted Nick Foles more, and let's be honest, they trust Jalen Hurts more. They just do.
Okay, I'll say this. I think he's definitely a better option for the time being. However, I'm hesitant to just say right now that he's the franchise guy because he's only played one game.
It's fair,
To be fair,
but again,
it was. I will say this though. It was against a very good Saints defense, so that works in his favor. But I want to see, I want to see him the rest of the season. What happens?
I'm not denying that this is a bold prediction,
Yeah.
and I'm not denying that I could be fully wrong about this. But also, here's another thing with Jalen that I really like. The way in how he's mobile, right, reminds me a lot of like Kyler Murray and like beginning of the season Kyler Murray, where his mobility kind of helps this offense move a lot more and flow, or I should say flow a lot better than Carson Wentz. That was very visible today.
Yeah.
And that alone for me is enough where I'm dumped Carson Wentz as the Eagles quarterback. Now, what does that mean in terms of trading him? Trading Wentz. We've talked about this before. It seems very unlikely that a team will want that contract on their books.
Somebody's dumb enough to take it.
But I also think that if he leaves the Eagles, he has an opportunity, and we've talked about this before. I mentioned this before. He has an opportunity to have a Ryan Tannehill-like comeback with the right organization. Now, I don't know what that organization is, though.
Cleveland now. maybe they trade Odell to Philly and get Carson Wentz.
They do need better receivers there.
That'd be interesting, actually.
It would be. I think
kind of
they're fine with Baker, though. I really think they're fine with Baker.
For now, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who would take him. Because I mean, if you think about it, like there's not really a team that needs like, or at least as of right now, it all depends on free agency. I feel like the quarterback market in this free agency is going to be crazy yet again, like it was last year.
Shane, you're missing the point here. The point is not if a team needs a quarterback.
No, I know.
The point is a team willing to take on a quarterback with that salary when let's look at a team like Jacksonville who could be looking at Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. That's a more viable option than Carson Wentz.
Well, that's what I mean. That's where I was getting at, because you need to have a team that needs a quarterback in order for there to be somebody that would do that or take that money or whatever with the trade. So, yeah, I can't think of anyone who would, honestly. I mean, like I said, somebody's probably dumb enough to do it because, because so. I don't know. We'll see. But I have no idea what's going to happen with that. But it's anyone's guess at this point.
Brandon, your thoughts on Jalen Hurts' first start? Now, obviously, I made a bold prediction, but what are your thoughts, at least rest of season for Hurts?
I mean, they're not gonna make it into the playoffs, so he doesn't have much time left.
Doesn't have anything to lose either, really.
I mean, that's the thing. He's
right now.
He's playing like a man with nothing to lose, and you kind of have to wonder what happens next season if he's a starting quarterback, and whether he's able to, when he's playing with, well, quite literally everything to lose, what happens. But I don't know. He played well, but I kind of missed watching the train wreck that was Carson Wentz. Not gonna lie.
I'm glad we're not seeing it.
I think this says a lot about Lincoln Riley as well, to be completely honest. Considering how we've had now 3 quarterbacks coming out of the draft, none of which I thought would be anything in the NFL or anything good. And they've all, even if they're not amazing, they've all been pretty good.
Starter quality.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a coincidence. So, yeah. But anyways.
So next week, we have a game that probably should have been Sunday Night Football. Thank you, NBC, for flexing the Browns and the Giants. What a wonderful matchup.
Is that the Sunday game next week?
Yeah, they flexed it out because the Niners game was supposed to be in there.
Oh, my gosh. All right.
Actually, are we getting that next week? I thought we were getting it. Never mind. We're not getting it. I thought we were. I got confused with the schedule. All right. Never mind then. Here's my question. Brandon, I'll start with you. Who do you like more, the Colts or the Titans?
I
thought they were playing next week, but it appears that they're not. So my bad there.
And who do I like more, Colts or the Titans?
Mm-hmm.
I asked this question because I literally do not know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Mm-hmm.
They're both just so like middle of the road, you know?
Like, who wins this division? I literally have zero clue.
Colts.
See,
Just because of their defense.
See, I remember us going 3 weeks ago, that matchup against the Packers, right? They went into overtime. We were like really impressed with how the Colts played. And now 3 weeks later, I'm like, they feel exactly the same.
Well, isn't that a good thing?
They feel very different to me.
Well, they feel exactly the same other than the Colts defense being kind of the one thing that puts them over the hump. But in terms of just pure play, I can't figure them out. Shane, what are your thoughts on which team is better, the Colts or the Titans?
Okay. Let's just break it down. I think Tennessee clearly has the better rushing game. That's not even a question. Better pass game is probably
the Colts after 2 weeks of absolutely slinging it.
Yeah. I don't know.
So that's the first thing that we don't know.
I would say Tennessee. Just because I feel like they have more threats.
Mm-hmm. That's also fair.
But I don't know. Because Rivers and Tannehill are about the same in terms of production to me, or how good they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're very different players, obviously, but then defensively, I feel like Indy has obviously the better front seven, and then their secondary, you could probably go either way, to be honest.
No, honestly, just give the whole defense of the Colts. And that's probably what sets them over the edge.
Yeah, because especially Tennessee's pass defense, or their pass rush is
should be better. It should be better is what I'll say about that.
Yeah, they look like high school kids out there.
Wouldn't go that far, but okay.
Well, no, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, head to head.
See, every
Man,
head-to-head
I don't
matchup,
know.
even in the head-to-head matchups, and I think they have been pretty much blowouts. It didn't really sway my opinion that much. Weren't both of them national
No.
TV games? Like, it didn't
Well,
really
they-
sway my opinion that much.
Well, they've played each other once?
Twice.
Oh,
Week-
they have.
Week 10, remember that was
Yeah,
the
I know. I
Tuesday
remember
game.
that one.
And then it was 2 weeks later. I thought they actually played in week 15, but I got next week, but I got confused. So my apologies there. So they played both games were national TV, that Tuesday one and then the Thursday night or 2 weeks later. And even after those games, I still can't say definitive. In those games, I thought they were pretty even though most of them, or I think both of them are pretty much blowouts.
I can't remember the first one. I'm looking it up right now. Okay, yeah, the first one was 34-17 Indy. The second one was 45-26 Tennessee.
Wait, am I right? Was that the first Tuesday game, or no? That was against Buffalo. My bad.
November 12th.
That was
So it
not
was
it.
3 weeks before.
No, yeah. Never mind. That was the Bills Tennessee game. I'm just stuck. Ultimately,
At this very moment, I think Tennessee is just that much better.
I think the Colts are that much better.
However, that's understandable, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because my thing with Indy is like, yeah, their defense is ranked great. However, if you look at who they've played, they have a lot of pretty weak offensive opponents. when
Look
they
at the
go up-
game today, though. They played the Raiders, which is a top 5 offense, and they got creamed.
They scored 27.
They
Raiders did.
they got creamed. They got torched by Nelson Aguilar today.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like last week when they played Cleveland, who put up 40, 45. So when they go up against good offenses, they look bad. Or sorry, that was Tennessee.
Yeah.
But
Are you talking
anyways,
are you talking about the Jets?
no, I'm talking about the Colts.
Colts.
Because whenever they go up against, it feels like whenever they go up against good offenses, they don't look like a number one defense or even close. So that's my one concern with them. Whereas Tennessee, it's like, yeah, their defense isn't as great, but at least they kind of play at a consistent level. It's their offense that kind of goes up and down, but I don't know. I think I see what's their remaining schedule. Do you know?
Let me look. Colts remaining schedule is Texans at Steelers, Jaguars.
Okay,
That's the
not bad.
Colts. And then Titans. Where is Tennessee?
They're both 9-4, right?
Yeah, pretty much, I think.
Or is
I mean, it doesn't really matter. They're just basically neck and neck in the
yeah,
division.
they're 9-4.
And then the Titans schedule is Lions at Packers at Texans.
Yeah, neither of those are really that bad.
Yeah. They're probably middle of the road schedules.
I would say Indy has the slight advantage. But that's tricky.
Brandon, what are your overall thoughts on this conversation? Because you see how we're both kind of struggling with it.
Yeah, I think I want to give the advantage to the Colts because, as we've seen so often, the teams in NFL with the better defense tend to do quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just have the better. I don't know. Like,
Unless it's Kansas City.
yeah.
Then it doesn't even matter. But yeah.
True.
But no, you are right though. Yeah.
My
We'll
main
just have to
thing
see.
is I thought, after the Packers played the Colts and we watched that game and we came in here and we said the Colts are definitively the best team in this division. And now 3 weeks later, I don't know.
Well, you said that. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. And
Or
I'm
at
still
least
kind
I
of like,
said,
I don't
at
know.
least
We'll
I
see.
said that I felt like it was definitive. And now 3 weeks later, I'm like, it really isn't definitive at all.
See,
And this can go either
Shane,
way.
You're too like cautious with your hot takes. You need to be like me and Robert, just throwing down the gauntlet
Except
left and
quarterbacks.
right.
And then
Except
being wrong.
quarterbacks.
And then being wrong. And then Brandon being right, basically.
Yeah, you need to be like me, Shane. Just come in here, throw down the gauntlet, and then be right. Because
See,
then,
I only
'cause
do a
then
hot
wh-
take when I know it's going to be right.
because then
Like
when you're
Josh
right,
Allen
Shane,
and
because then
Carson Wentz
Shane,
and
when
Jimmy
you're
G.
when you're right, you get a gloat about it, and oh my god,
You
it
get to get
feels
to bag.
amazing.
You get to bag on me.
Well, yeah, but then if I get it wrong, I won't hear anything but crap from you. So
Yep.
Let's move on to a coach who crapped the bed on special teams today with the LA Chargers. Okay, so this was the battle of two teams that cannot finish, obviously. That was fairly clear throughout the game.
That's a good way to put it.
But the one thing that I hated more than anything else, and I was thinking about not really touching this game, it wasn't really that interesting. These are two teams that are not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they've both been eliminated, haven't they?
They have both been eliminated. So I was like, okay, But the one problem I had, so they have changed. So the Chargers, backtrack a bit. The Chargers have fired or have at least demoted, I think. I don't know exactly the specifics. Two of their special teams coordinators over the last, 5 weeks. And then Anthony Lynn takes over the special teams duties. And right before halftime, there's like 4 seconds left on the clock. They don't have a timeout. And offensive players are running out of the field to the sideline while special teamers are running in, and the offensive lineman from the offense is still on the field. And it was just, I don't even know. It just back and forth. It was weird. Then they finished the half, and that's it. They don't get the 3 points. That was it. And I'm sitting there going, what happened here? I cannot believe how much I have turned on Anthony Lynn. That was what the Chargers season is amazing quarterback play and a coach that just cannot handle time management for his life. And it showed itself at the end of that first half. And that was kind of the one thing that stuck with me the most in this game, other than these two teams just cannot finish. Brandon, your thoughts on that particular play at half and sort of what the Chargers are?
I was watching the pre-show for Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
And they were saying that they felt like both these teams and the Chargers and the Falcons should both not be at the records they're at because of the quarterbacks. Like, the quarterbacks are great.
Yeah.
The rest of the team just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And so I
Other than
think
good receiving talent. But
yeah.
Well,
they have Eckler back now, and I think the main issue is they have a head coach who's just out of his depth. I personally think Anthony Lynn, he's decent, but he's out of his depth and he's swimming upstream without a paddle. And he, well, first of all, when he's doing special teams with having never done special teams before, like, there's a lot of timing to special teams,
And that was clear at the end of that half.
You got to know when to send your guys out, when to not send your guys out, when to have them stay, when to have them go. Like it's not something that anybody can do. So
that was clear. I was really excited about this Chargers team, especially when Herbert came in. I was like, okay, Anthony Lynn's got this. But the time management for the last 3 weeks has absolutely made me kind of turn on him. And I don't know what his future is. We talked about last week, or I think 2 weeks before as well. It's been so rough. Shane, what are your thoughts on how Anthony Lynn has kind of time managed in these last few weeks? Because it's definitely been rough.
I mean, I never really liked him as a coach to begin with. But I mean, I think it's about time he gets the boot, because I don't know. I don't think he's really, at this point, I don't think he's really contributing anything valuable to this team and their success. So I don't know. I'd say move along with him. But will they? I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Internally, I think they're ready.
I mean, I would hope.
And based on all the reports that I've seen, it seems like internally they are ready to move off him.
I'd like to see Belichick there. I know I said that once, but God, that would just be fascinating.
It would be super interesting. What would Belichick do to this team with a young quarterback like Herbert?
Well, for me, the interest is not only that, but just what he would do defensively, because Belichick is a defensive guy, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, how does he maybe turn that around?
I think he would build the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Herbert too. I feel like they would have a good camaraderie, because Herbert's just so all right, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, just puts his head down. All right, I'm ready. And Belichick, he seemed very grouchy before, but now we're realizing that maybe he's not.
Yeah, and we talking about all this stuff before. I
don't know. I think Belichick is going to retire soon.
I would agree with that too.
Probably, yeah. I mean, he's 60,
I would agree with that too.
Right? Yeah.
It's what else does he really have to prove?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm in his shoes, it's well, I got a few more years. I've put my time into New England. This team's kind of, having a downfall. I'm gonna go enjoy a few years in the sun and the warm, and then kick back and retire. See what I can do with a young upcoming franchise. I don't know.
I could see him what I could see happening?
Huh.
I could see him retiring from coaching, but because he's so obsessed with football, I could see him becoming I don't know.
Tom Coughlin executive type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not a GM, but someone who's good at scouting. I don't know.
I would say the Tom Coughlin Jacksonville role when he was there.
But does it better than Tom Coughlin did.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about some award races as we're talking about some of these games. I think I finally have figured out who my defensive player of the year is today. And this will tie into the Seahawks Jets game that was torturous, as expected. Jamal Adams, 8.5 sacks, most by a secondary player, I believe.
Most, yeah.
In NFL history. That's enough for me to put you in the conversation and probably put you at number one. It's been ridiculous what he has done all year. There's not really much to write about with this game. It didn't really do anything for me other than Jamal Adams.
Robert, I'm going to stop you for a second, and I'm going to go back a couple weeks to something you said.
Yep.
The Seattle Seahawks needed a blowout win to solidify themselves for you.
Not against the Jets.
Robert, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Not against the Jets. I'm talking about a real team.
You said the Steelers blew out the Jaguars.
Well, yeah, but at least they're competitive.
Oh
At
my
least they have a
God.
competitive roster.
No.
This Jets team does not have a competitive roster.
Oh my God.
I would
Robert,
argue the Jaguars are a worse roster than the Jets.
No, absolutely not.
Robert,
They've at least been
Robert,
competitive.
I feel like I could.
The Jets almost beat the Raiders. They've been competitive.
Robert. I
No,
feel
they've
like
not.
I feel
Other
like
than
I'm
that
in
game.
I feel like I'm in Groundhog's Day. Like I feel like we go in circles, and every time
So-
we come back around, and I think I have you beat. You're like, well, actually.
Well, here's my thing. I should have been more specific. My apologies there. But the Jets, I even said this going into the matchup. I was like, I don't care.
Oh my
Because
God. You say
this
that
is a
about
Jets
every
team.
game that's not played.
Well, at least for the past few weeks, because let's be honest, this schedule down the stretch is nothing to write home about, other than probably Washington. Like if they blow out Washington next week with that defensive line, yeah, then I think we can talk about it.
I think you're wrong. I think
But
the
the
you just don't want
Jets-
to admit the Seahawks out of
No, but hang on. The Jets, am I really going to have a take about the Seahawks against the Jets?
I mean,
It's the Jets.
I'll just say this, Robert. Jacksonville is 1-12. Jets are 0-13. They're not exactly that far off from each other.
I would disagree with that. Because if you watch how Jacksonville, and not necessarily the last
They
few
play
weeks,
like shit.
not necessarily, no. Well, hang on. No. I would say, yeah, the last few weeks, 100%. But, well, I guess probably instead of this, other than the Steelers game, that team actually has some fight in them and actually plays really well. And they have some talent, like like James Robinson. I actually think that Jacksonville is a bit better, not that much better, but a bit better than their record would indicate. And if Doug Marrone wasn't there and they had a better quarterback, they could potentially have 5 wins right now.
And back me up here.
I think they're better than the record indicates.
I'm
Jets,
in the middle
I'm
here.
You what?
I'm in the middle here.
How can you be in the middle? Like
I think it's fair
Because
for him to be in the middle for this
it's
team.
been
I'm always
weeks
in the middle.
after
You'll see
weeks
here.
after weeks that I've reached every
No,
single
no,
caveat
okay.
he's
Just-
given me.
Listen, honey. Okay, you got so when you here's the thing. I'm with you. Robert did say the blowout win. He wants to see the blowout win, and he didn't specify that the Jets didn't count. However, I'm with Robert because I agree the Jets don't really
Fucking
count
kidding me?
because it's the Jets. I would say the same thing if it
Yeah,
was the
but
Jaguars.
it's the Jaguars.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. I would say the same thing if it was the Jaguars.
I
That's where
probably
Robert-
wouldn't. I
Oh my
probably
God.
wouldn't.
This
I
bit,
probably
like,
wouldn't.
I swear, you're getting like every.
I just wasn't specific. But like
Robert,
again,
I swear
came
to
into
God,
this
if we blow out the Washington football team, I am coming here and I am going to be so smarmy. It's not going to be funny.
No.
You will
If
finally admit.
they okay, here's the specific way I will say this. Next week against Washington, they have to, if it's just like a bunch of weird picks by Dwayne Haskins, then no. I'm talking about that offense against that defensive line in specific. If that's the case, and they're not going to blow them out.
I swear, you give.
They
the
probably will
Seahawks-
win by
I
14.
swear, you like give the Seahawks the hardest like things to
I
like.
give a lot of teams a hard time. I give the Chargers a hard time. I'm now giving the Steelers a hard time, especially after the last few weeks. Like, but it's the Jets. Like, you can't say, like, I spoke about this last week. The Jets are actively trying to lose. I'm not going to put any stock in this game whatsoever. The fact that they blew them out is cool, but it doesn't do anything. It just doesn't. It says a lot about the Raiders and their defense that the Jets got 34 on them. It did say a lot about that. But for any other team playing the Jets the rest of the season, are we really going to sit here and say, oh, they blew them out by 34 and now we have a different view on them? Really?
But I have a question. It's kind of unrelated to them. But is Dwayne Haskins playing next week?
Yes.
Probably. Probably.
Okay.
I mean, that definitely changes things. But Alex Smith isn't necessarily, hasn't necessarily been incredible. But
Well, I mean, I guess I guess it changes things. However, the main, I guess, area of the game that I at least will be looking at is, like you said, the Seahawks offense versus Washington's defense. So
particularly their defensive line, because that defensive
Right.
line's been top probably 1 to 2 in the league.
I don't think I've ever seen such a bad team though.
The Jets?
the Jets
Yeah.
Is this worse than the 0-16 Lions team?
or the 0-16 Browns.
I mean,
Is this worse? Because it feels worse.
they might be the worst because like I watched maybe the first quarter, and this Seahawks team, like, they're a good offense, but holy shit, they like cut through them like butter. Like Carson was getting a solid like 15 yards of carry. Like
It felt like it.
I mean,
Russell
he
had
might
all
not
the way
have.
in the pocket.
Yeah, like he had one pick that was like him forcing it to DK, but
And
that
it was
was
a
it.
great play by the defense.
Oh yeah, I mean
It
the
didn't-
man he tipped it himself, out physical DK, and caught it. Like
that shouldn't have been an interception.
right. I mean,
So,
it also shouldn't
kudos
have
to
been
that
thrown.
guy.
It also shouldn't have been thrown to DK because he was like locked down.
No.
By the way,
Um,
happy birthday, DK Metcalf. That was a
yeah.
fun.
But I mean, I don't know. It's not like
celebration.
Russell ended up with like 4 touchdowns and like a bajillion yards. So whatever.
40% off an Alaska Airlines flight.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I will also say at least this one thing about the Seahawks that I found interesting. They came into that game against the Giants clearly not focused. At least that's what they were saying. And they came into this week going like, it's the Jets, but we need to be focused because we could play bad. I think there are teams in the league that do that. They play teams like the Jets or the Giants in this case, or some of these bottom teams, and they just kind of get complacent. And that might have been the case against the Giants, although it is too hard to tell since this is the Jets. But I understood that in this game because they were on a mission to blow them out. That felt very clear right from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't see them doing that again this year. Not meaning that they're just gonna, win out, but I don't see them going into a game after what happened with the Giants. I don't see them going into a game thinking like, oh yeah, we got this, whatever.
Yeah.
Not being focused.
And that's kind of what I meant by like a trap game. Like a game that they're just
Right.
like not like thinking like football. Like
It seems like from everything that has come out of the Seahawks camp is that was the case. I'm not sure exactly if that is true. We'll see. I think against Washington, we'll see how true that it was. But yeah. So I think my nomination right now stands. Jamal Adams doing what he's done at that safety position, defensive player of the year.
No, he's overrated according to everybody on Instagram.
That's stupid.
So is DK Metcalf.
My apologies
How
for
could you
ranking
say-
him in the 40s in our
Yeah,
wide receiver
Robert.
draft. Holy crap. He's going to be top 10 drafted.
good lord.
Dude, but
Yet
he's
again-
finally
yet again
getting target
validated.
share. Holy smokes, he's getting target share. More target share than Tyler Lockett. And finally, he's looking like the guy we expected him to.
Nobody can stop him. Like
He's crazy.
he looks like a linebacker playing wide receiver. Like
It's crazy. No, like he's finally getting the target share for me to put him not even in the top 20, probably in the top 10. That might be overstretching it, but at least right now, oh boy.
Like, I thought. I mean, I'll be because Brandon, you got him what 11th? I think.
I think I had him 10 or 11.
Yeah, like I thought that was a little high, but when Robert was like, "I'm like 35 or 40," I was like, "What?"
I had him 39.
39, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh."
To be fair, did we draft AJ Brown?
I don't think so.
Dang. Wow. He's gonna vault himself into the top 10 to 15. Jeez.
It's gonna be a very different looking wide
Yeah,
receiver.
when we do that in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Michael Thomas, number 1.
He's
Yeah,
been
right.
he's been, it's funny. He's actually been solid with Taysom Hill because he's the only guy he looks to.
Yeah.
He's the only guy Taysom looks to, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically his role anyway.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to another award nomination. I'm struggling with Defensive Player of the Year still a little bit. Another one that I'm struggling with is Defensive Rookie of the Year. Chase Young made his case known today. He was phenomenal.
I mean, I thought everybody just assumed that Chase Young was the obvious
I think that's
defensive.
pretty easy.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mentioned Jeremy Chin as a pretty solid nominee a couple weeks ago. I think he has a solid chance for what he's done at the safety position in Carolina, basically being thrusted in there. But man, Chase Young is really a huge reason why the defensive line is playing like it is, but also Ron Rivera as well, and sort of how he's coached this team. I know in the broadcast they were talking about how much he's preached accountability. Ron Rivera has truly brought a different culture to Washington. Shane, you can speak on that a little bit as well.
Well, I think it's just, considering that he is, I think it especially helps that he is a defensive coach. And you can tell that defensively, I think they're really locked in. They've had one of the, I think, like top 3 pass defenses all year. And
I don't even think their secondary is that good.
yeah, it's not. It's not amazing. But that's just. I think that just goes to show how he, wherever he goes, it feels like he just has strong defenses. Not that that's always the case, but like in Carolina for a few years there, they were a top 5 defense, and I mean, who did they have? Luke Kuechly. I mean, like, other than that, it was kind of, just a couple names.
Thomas Davis, better than that.
Yeah. I think if they can, I think now if they can figure out their offensive situation, I think Antonio Gibson was doing pretty good for them. Not playing right now, unfortunately. But I think they really just need a solid franchise quarterback, and they will probably be in control of that division with New York, maybe, depending on what happens with their quarterback situation too. I mean, I think Daniel Jones is fine, but he seems to be kind of hit or miss. So yeah.
This is a good segue to Daniel Jones. Brandon, did you feel it was right for them to play him while he was still hobbled today?
No. I was very confused actually why they chose him, why they played him, because you have someone who just won a game last week in your backup, and you don't want to. You want to bring back Daniel Jones right away. Who, might I add, one of the big things. One of the big things that they have been successful with this season is Daniel Jones rushing the ball.
That's the name of his game.
When he's hobbled, you just take away 90% of his game.
It showed today for sure.
Yeah, because I mean he's. I never considered him like a dual threat quarterback, really, but then this year we've kind of seen that he's actually really fast. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a big factor for him and for the team in general, especially since they don't have Saquon. So, although, what's his name, Morris, wasn't bad, and who's their
Wayne
RB2?
Gallman's been nice as their running back this year too.
Yeah,
He's been
they
nice
weren't
in
bad
spurts.
today, but
Their running backs haven't been bad all season, but today it was brutal all around.
Yeah.
And with Arizona, same problem as always. Can't really do anything in the red zone offensively. I don't know if we specifically talked about how bad they are in the red zone, but God, are they terrible.
I thought the commentators were saying they have like one of the top 3 red zone conversion rates.
Well, it didn't look like it today. It was bad.
Or is it bottom 3?
I think it was bottom 3. It has to be. That was brutal today. Finally, before we go, I have a question that I don't really have the answer to right now, unfortunately. Okay. And we haven't really talked about it too much on the show, but since we're in week 14, I think it is the proper time to start having this conversation. Who's your NFL MVP? Brandon, do you have an answer?
I know who Brandon's going to say.
I don't know. I want to say Russell, but like, I can only hope he gets one vote. It's such. I don't know. It's definitely not Josh Allen.
He's in the nomination list for me.
Actually, I guess. Well, to be
he's like, who's in the nomination list?
To be okay, so my nomination list
5
is
5 nominees.
Not just quarterbacks, by the way, not just quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Can't have just quarterbacks on the nomination list.
Here are my 5. I have. Let me think about it.
Can I go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Go first.
I got Mahomes. I got Russell. I got DK.
That's an interesting MVP nomination.
I got DK?
It's actually super interesting.
I legit think DK could hypothetically be on an MVP nomination. Look at the man.
Someone could vote him.
He is like not saying he is gonna win or he would be voted, but I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a vote. It would shock me, but I wouldn't be surprised.
It'd be hilarious if he got a vote and Russell didn't get a vote. Russell's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Excuse my language, but
Mahomes, Wilson, I agree with those.
So Mahomes, Wilson, DK. I guess Josh Allen.
I would put Allen on this list.
He really is kind of carrying that team.
Derrick Henry, Aaron Rodgers?
Yep.
No,
those are my other 2.
I guess Derrick Henry. Because he's like the best running back in the league right now. And also like the only good thing going for the Titans.
Is there a reason to say that a quarterback shouldn't win the award this year?
I mean,
like, is there a succinct case that a quarterback shouldn't win the award?
Patrick Mahomes is not out of those 5. You know who I would give my vote to? Derrick Henry, because he is the most MVP-ist player out of those 5. You know why? Because the most valuable player. It is the most valuable player on a team. It's the player that if you took that player away, that team automatically sucks. You take Derrick Henry away from the Titans, that team becomes way worse.
You could probably say the same for anyone else on this list, probably other than DK.
Here's the thing.
Mahomes leaving would be bad.
You could here's the difference though. You could swap like Russell to the Chiefs. You could swap Mahomes to the Seahawks. You could swap Rodgers to the Chiefs or the Seahawks.
You can do that with a lot of top quarterbacks.
All 3 of those teams or the Bills or whatever. All 4 of those teams, they're still good.
You know, I would want to give the award to Derrick Henry, but again, that's part of the problem. This is a quarterback award. It will always be a quarterback award.
Adrian Peterson.
Other than AP, but AP had like a historical year. Same with LT.
Has a defensive player ever won it?
It might have been forever. Did J.J. Watt win an MVP?
No, he almost did. In 2014, I think.
He was.
Oh, that's right.
Aaron Rodgers got first, and then J.J. Watt was
J.J.
second.
Watt had an insane year that year, and I remember thinking that he should.
What was it? 22 and a half sacks or something
Yeah, something
stupid
like
that
that.
year.
Except J.J. did win number one.
And he
NFL
got
top 100.
defensive player.
Yeah.
But
Who's
I
gonna
don't
win
know.
defensive player this year?
Chase Young.
No, I'm talking about
No, rookie.
overall.
That'd be rookie.
Oh, overall,
I would say either.
But I said Jamal Adams. I guess on the NFC side,
Yeah,
it'd probably be Jamal. I think
Well,
he's overall
I would say him.
DPOY.
But realistically, knowing how
Media.
this works out, it'll
Yeah.
probably be Aaron Donald or T.J. Watt. I would guess.
so
Yeah.
boring.
I just think what Adams is doing at the safety spot is just so unheard of
I mean,
that
like,
you have to
here's
give
I
him the
agree.
award.
Right, because like here's the thing with Adams, like the man, we boast about him all the time on this show because he's like legitimately to me is the most interesting defensive player to watch.
He's
Like,
the most jack of all trades guy,
he
but the simple fact that
teleports.
he's getting sacks at the safety spot at
Right.
the rate that he is like
I mean,
historically
well,
ungodly.
the thing is, he should have had he should have had 2 sacks today, not just one.
Yeah,
because
he's going to get more. He's going to finish with like
Yeah.
12, 13 sacks this
And
year.
he nearly got an interception today.
He should have gotten one.
Yeah, that was going to be a pick 6 if he caught that.
Right now, I give Mahomes my number 1 and then Henry my number 2 at MVP. But here's the thing. But here's the thing with Mahomes too. I feel like based on the fact that Mahomes got the MVP, you know what? When did he get the MVP? What year was that? Was that 2 years? That was 2 years
I thought he
ago,
got it
right?
last year.
18. No, Lamar got it last year.
So
That's right.
remember the year in eight. Remember, so the 2 previous MVPs, the years that they had were just ridiculous. Mahomes and Jackson, but there's no quarterback that's going to have that massive statistical year this year, right?
I mean,
Russell was on track to.
Yeah, Russell
Right.
was on track to, and then he like fell off. But he could still. He still has 3 games. He could still put up like big numbers in these last couple games, and people could be like, okay, he fell off in 1 or 2 games. Like,
well, it would be like, I guess 3, but either way, I give it. So this is what's been interesting about the MVP race. Like Aaron Rodgers was up a couple weeks ago. I'd probably say Mahomes is the betting favorite right now. But it's not like a normal MVP race. It's not what we've had the past couple of years where there's just one guy by week 13, week 4.
I would say there's like 4 right now that would be top 4 in terms of like the actual thinking would be Mahomes, Rodgers, Wilson, Allen, probably.
And then Henry there as well,
Yeah.
probably. Allen's going to get some votes.
I just hope Russell gets some votes.
He should.
Like, I don't even need him to win. I just need him to get a vote. Get some damn votes. Like,
thank you, Chris Collinsworth, for not being allowed, because he would have given the vote to him. But
he deserves to get a vote. Like,
yeah.
But like the interesting thing, Russell's like one of the only. I don't even think Russell cares if he gets a vote.
Now, I will say this: Derrick Henry is on track to finish the season with 1,900 rushing yards, which is only 100 shy of AP's 2,000 when he won MVP.
2012 year. Yeah.
I don't know.
See that's what makes it interesting is if this isn't if we're operating under the idea that the media core that votes on the MVP is willing to stop making a quarterback award for this year, then yeah, I say Derrick Henry.
And 17 touchdowns.
Right. But the fact of the matter is the media is not going to do that. They're just not.
But like that's the thing. It's the MVP. It's not just like, oh, it's not like fucking
right. But the MVP, even in the NBA, we've had these conversations multiple times. Like my voting for the MVP in basketball is a little bit different because I do operate more on who is the most valuable player. But in the NFL, it's about who is the best player at the quarterback position, it seems, from the media perspective. Shane, what is your answer? Who's your MVP vote right now?
Mm-hmm. You know, I would say that I want the the hawk in me would want would want Russell to win. However, the MVP curse is a thing, so I'll get
The MVP vote curse is a thing. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, no. All jokes aside, though, honestly, I would like to see Henry get it. I really would, because I agree with Brannan that without him, Tennessee would be trash. More so than any of the other four guys that we have nominate or that we are thinking about. Because like you said, you could trade some of those guys around, and it'd still work out all right. But there's no running back in the NFL that could replace Derrick Henry and do what he is doing for that team. So
yeah. See,
yeah.
I want and hopefully by the end of the year this might change. The conversation may be like Derrick Henry is the front runner. That could change. But my claim is I'm with you guys. The problem is right now as it stands, the media is not thinking in that way. The overall media core that's voting for the MVP is not thinking in that form. So that's why I have to give Mahomes the vote there.
You know who has the third most amount of rushing touchdowns in the entire NFL?
Who?
It's not even a running back. Cam Newton.
No surprises there.
I find that bizarre, but
well, he's always getting those rushes all the way, or with that 1 yard rush for a touchdown,
yeah,
jumping over the line every game basically at this point.
Huh. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting last few weeks here for the NFL. It still feels very much like anything could happen.
Except for the Chiefs.
Well, yeah. But, yeah.
Even after that Dolphins performance today.
Yeah. I'm excited to say the least.
Yeah.
But until then, we've got basketball to draft.
That's right. We're doing the fantasy basketball draft next week. It seems like that's going to be Saturday at 7.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, I'll probably confirm that Monday or Tuesday.
Right?
Yes, we are. We're going to be recording that on Zoom. Hopefully, a good portion of the guys in our league will join us on the Zoom call.
Get Paul and David in there.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see who comes in. But we're definitely getting ready for some fantasy basketball as fantasy football is winding down. As it stands right now, it seems like if we're going to do that show on Saturday, which I think 99% sure we will, we're not going to do a show on Sunday. So most likely you'll see the draft come out on Tuesday of this following week. And then we'll be back to our regular schedule by that point. So that's what my thinking is at this time. Also, we will post our schedule or our standings for the NBA. Where do we think the standings will line up? We'll post that on our social medias probably by Monday of next week. So that's going to be super interesting as well for all of you to check out. So that's sort of the game plan. Very excited for the draft. Moving on from football to basketball for some of us still in the playoffs in our football league. So that should be very interesting as well. By the way, who are your guys' MVPs for fantasy this week for the playoffs?
Let's see.
I mean, let's see. And for the playoffs really quick, we're doing 2-week matchups. So it's basically one big week of 2 matchups. I am up 150.06 to 118.22 against Shane. And then Matty V, as it currently stands, is up 157.52 over Paul's team, 86.02. That's as it stands right now in the playoffs. Obviously, we have another week to go in this semifinal matchup. All right, so who are your MVPs, guys?
I'll go Jonathan Taylor.
Ooh, nice pick. He had a really good day today. Finally kind of once again solidified himself in that Indianapolis backfield. Let's see. What am I doing here?
But you, Brennan.
I'm gonna go with Travis Kelce.
Oh, good call. Yep, 27.
He had a close to 30-point game. So.
Let's see. I'm not gonna pick the obvious and pick Derrick Henry.
Well, we've already picked him a couple
multiple
times.
He's probably in the running for fantasy MVP at this point for the whole season. I'm gonna go T.Y. Hilton coming off as a waiver wire ad this week, 25.6 points. I imagine it helped a lot of teams in the consolation bracket or on their bench more than anything else, unfortunately. But yeah. So that's sort of our MVPs for the playoff week. We'll keep you guys all updated on how those playoffs are going, as well as the basketball league. So we will see you all on Saturday for the basketball draft, and that will be up probably Monday or Tuesday morning of the following week. So that's going to be great. Very excited for that. So we will see you all then. Have a great week, everybody.
See ya.